Hello, and a very warm welcome to everyone listening from every corner of the world. I am your host, David.
And I am Sara. We are so incredibly happy to have you here with us today. Whether you are driving to work, cooking dinner, or just taking a quiet moment for yourself, we are honored to be part of your day.
Today, Sarah, we are going to do something a little different. Usually, we jump right into grammar rules or vocabulary lists, but today, we want to talk about the heart of learning English. We want to talk about the struggle, the fear, and the ultimate victory of speaking a new language.
That is right, David. We received an email from a listener named Ahmed last week, and honestly, it broke my heart a little bit. He wrote, "I know the words in my head. I can read them perfectly. But when I open my mouth to speak, I freeze. I feel like I am suffocating."
That is a heavy feeling, Sarah. It is that feeling of being trapped inside your own mind. You have these beautiful thoughts, these complex ideas, but you cannot let them out. It is a problem that affects millions of learners. It is not a lack of intelligence. It is a barrier of fear.
Exactly, because David, I think we overcomplicate things. We think we need to sound like Shakespeare to be respected. But the truth is, connection is about clarity, not complexity.
I couldn't agree more. You know, there is a famous quote by Nelson Mandela that I always return to when I think about language learning. He said, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head."
That is beautiful. That is why English is important, isn't it? It is not just about passing an exam or getting a visa. It is about connecting with hearts. English has become the bridge between cultures. It is the tool that lets a person in Brazil understand a person in Japan.
Precisely. When you learn English, you are not just memorizing words. You are unlocking a door to the rest of the world. You are gaining access to information, to science, to art, and most importantly, to other human beings. But Sarah, let's go back to Ahmed's problem, the fear of speaking, the fear of making mistakes.
It is the spotlight effect, David. We feel like there is a giant spotlight on us, and everyone is waiting for us to mess up. But the reality is, people just want to understand you. They are not grading your grammar in real life. They are listening to your message.
So, how do we solve this? How do we move from fear to fluency? The answer lies in the title of today's episode, Simple Sentences. We need to stop trying to run before we can walk.
Right. We need to embrace simplicity. There is power in brevity.
Wow, I love that! So, listeners, today we are going to practice constructing simple, strong, and correct sentences. We are going to strip away the complex confusion and focus on the core message. Sarah, are you ready to role-play some scenarios?
I am ready, David. Let's do this.
Okay, here is the rule for today. I will give you a complex, messy thought, the kind of thought that gets stuck in our heads. Your job, Sarah, and the job of our listeners, is to turn that messy thought into a simple, clear English sentence.
Got it. Keep it simple. Let's go.
Scenario 1, you are at a coffee shop.
Oh, that is too much. If I try to say all that, I will stutter.
Perfect. Listeners, repeat after Sarah. See? No stress. You communicate the need perfectly. Let's try a harder one.
Okay, hit me with it.
Scenario 2, you are at work. You didn't hear what your boss said. In your head, you are panicking.
That is a spiral of anxiety. We need to stop that spiral. The solution is honesty and simplicity. Or I didn't catch that.
It is polite, professional, and effective. You are solving the problem immediately. You know, Sarah, many people think using big words makes them sound smart, but using simple words correctly makes you sound confident.
Confidence is key. You know, David, English is important for another reason we haven't touched on yet: problem solving in your career.
Curious.
Well, imagine you are a software developer, or a doctor, or a marketer. The best resources, the latest research, the biggest conferences, they are mostly in English. If you limit your English, you limit your professional growth. You limit your ability to solve problems in your own field.
That is a very practical point. It is the language of innovation. If you want to be at the cutting edge, you need English. But let's get back to the emotions of learning. It can feel lonely, can't it?
It can. It feels like you are climbing a mountain alone. Sometimes you plateau. You feel like you are studying every day, but you are not getting better. That is when people usually quit.
And that is exactly when you must not quit.
That is the secret. Consistency over intensity. It is better to practice simple sentences for 10 minutes a day than to study complex grammar for 5 hours once a month.
Let's do another practice round. This one is about emotions. People find it hard to express how they feel in a second language.
That is true. But we can do better with simple sentences.
Okay, the scenario is you had a really long, tiring day at work, but you feel satisfied because you finished a big project. In your head, it's a mix of exhaustion and pride.
Okay. Complex feeling. Simple sentences.
That is excellent. It captures the nuance without using a dictionary. Listeners, try that.
David, let's talk about the structure of these simple sentences. Why do they work?
Great question. In English, the golden rule for simplicity is SVO, subject, verb, object. When you get nervous, go back to SVO. It is your safety net.
Curious? Serious? So, if I am in a job interview and I am panic-stricken, I should just stick to SVO?
Absolutely. Let's try a job interview scenario.
Oh, the dreaded question. Okay, instead of rambling, I will use SVO lists.
It sounds punchy. It sounds direct, which sounds unsure.
David, what about the fear of accent? Many of our listeners write to us saying they hate their accent. They want to sound American or British.
This is a huge topic. Let me be very clear. Your accent is your identity. It is a map of where you have been and who you are. As long as you are clear, your accent is not a problem. In fact, it is charming.
Happy, hopeful. We shouldn't try to erase who we are. We should just try to be the best version of ourselves.
Exactly. There is a quote by Arthur Ashe, the tennis player, that applies to language learning perfectly. Start where you are. Use what you have.
That means if you only know 50 words, use those 50 words. Don't wait until you know 1,000 words to start speaking. Speak today.
Energetic, challenging. Sarah, let's do a rapid-fire round. I will say a word, and you make a simple sentence instantly. No overthinking.
I am ready. Don't go too easy on me.
Word number 1, tomorrow.
I will call you tomorrow.
Nice. Word number 2, beautiful.
The sky is beautiful today.
Word number 3, mistake.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Word number 4, learn.
I learn something new every day.
Excellent! Listeners, did you hear that rhythm? It wasn't perfect poetry, but it was communication. It was fast, efficient, and clear.
And I didn't translate in my head, David. I think that is the trap. When we try to translate from our native language to English word for word, the sentence becomes a disaster.
Yes, translation is the enemy of fluency. You must think in concepts, not words. When you see a table, don't think of the word for table in your language and then translate it.
It takes practice, but that is why we are here, to practice together. David, why do you think so many people give up on English?
They forget the purpose. They get stuck in the grammar books and forget the human connection.
So, we need to constantly remind ourselves of the goal. The goal is to make friends, to travel without fear, to understand movies without subtitles, to read books that can change our lives.
Speaking of books, reading is a superpower for speaking, but you have to read the right way.
Curious?
Yes, reading in your head is passive. Reading aloud is active. It trains your mouth muscles. English uses different muscles than your native language.
Happy, energetic. So grab a book, maybe a children's book or a simple news article, and read it out loud. If you stumble, read it again.
Let's try a little reading exercise. I want you to read it, Sara, but read it as if you were talking to a friend. Make it natural.
Okay, hand it over. She pauses for a second. Success is not about money. Success is about happiness. If you wake up happy, you are successful. Do not let others define your life.
That was perfect. You paused at the periods. You gave the words emotion.
Curious, happy. That is another great quote. Who said that?
That is a common English idiom, actually. It means you are in control. And listeners, you are the captain of your English journey. No teacher can learn for you. You have to steer the ship.
David, I want to talk about listening for a moment. We are doing a speaking podcast, but you cannot speak if you do not listen.
True. Input leads to output. If you want to speak simple sentences, you need to listen to simple sentences.
That is why watching movies can sometimes be discouraging. The actors speak so fast, and they use slang.
Right. Beginners should not start with complex movies. Start with podcasts, like this one. Or watch interviews on YouTube. Interviews are great because people usually speak clearly and naturally.
And don't be afraid to use subtitles, but try to use English subtitles. That way, you connect the sound to the spelling.
Let's transition to another problem-solving segment. You are in a conversation, someone asks you a question, and your mind goes completely blank. It is empty. What do you do?
Oh, the panic. I know it well. First, take a breath. It sounds cliché, but oxygen helps the brain. Second, use a filler phrase to buy time.
Give us some examples of good filler phrases that don't sound unprofessional. These little phrases act like a bridge. They connect the silence to your answer.
Exactly. And don't be afraid of silence. A 2-second pause feels like an hour to you, but to the listener, it just looks like you are thoughtful.
We are approaching the end of our session, but before we go, I want to address the why one last time. Why puts in the effort? Why face the fear?
Hopeful, energetic, and life is short. English is the key to the modern world. Imagine traveling to a country where you don't speak the local language. What is the common ground? English.
Hopeful, energetic. Imagine getting a job offer from an international company that could change your family's future. What is the requirement? English.
Imagine meeting your soulmate, but they are from a different culture. What language will you use to fall in love? Likely English.
It is the language of opportunity. Maya Angelou said, "Do the best you can until you know better."
Happy, hopeful. I love Maya Angelou. That is so forgiving. That is all we are asking you to do today.
So, here is your homework for today, listeners. We want you to go through your day, and whenever you do a simple action, say it in English. Narrate your life. Keep the sentences simple. Subject, verb, object. Get comfortable with your own voice.
And remember, Ahmed, our listener who felt suffocated? Ahmed, if you are listening, we believe in you. Your voice matters. Your ideas matter. Don't let grammar silence you.
Absolutely. Perfection is not the goal. Connection is. We hope this episode has given you some tools, some motivation, and maybe a little bit of courage.
We will be back tomorrow with more practice. But until then, keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep learning.
Thank you for letting us be a part of your journey. I'm David.
And I'm Sarah. Goodbye for now.
Postscript segment. A deeper dive for advanced motivation. Wait, Sarah. Before we completely sign off, I feel like we should add one more thing. We have a little more time.
Sure, David. What is on my mind? Curious. Identity shift. That sounds deep. Explain it to me.
As long as you say, "I am trying," you are admitting that it is a struggle.
I see. It is a mindset thing. So instead of saying, "I am trying to learn," what should they say?
Even if you only speak a little bit, if you speak, you are a speaker. Shift your identity. When you believe you are an English speaker, you act like one. You stop apologizing for your existence.
That is powerful. It is like the law of attraction. You have to embody the person you want to become. I am an English speaker.
Yes, stop apologizing.
Oh, all the time. It is the most common opening phrase.
We need to ban that phrase. Delete it. Never apologize for learning. Never apologize for knowing two languages, even if one is imperfect. You are showing respect to the other person by trying to speak their language. That is noble, not shameful.
You are right.
Brilliant switch. That changes the energy from negative, apology, to positive, gratitude.
It empowers the other person too. It makes them feel helpful rather than annoyed.
Exactly. This is the psychology of language learning. It is 20% grammar and 80% psychology. If you can conquer your mind, your tongue will follow.
David, do you remember when you were learning a second language? What was your hardest moment?
Oh, definitely. I was learning Spanish. I walked into a pharmacy to buy medicine for a headache, but I got the words wrong.
Surprised? No way, you said that?
I did. The word for pregnant and embarrassed or burdened can be similar if you mess up the sounds. The pharmacist looked at me with wide eyes. I turned bright red.
That is hilarious, but you survived.
Ha! I survived. We laughed about it. And guess what? I never forgot the correct word for headache after that. The mistake cemented the knowledge.
That is the best proof that mistakes are gifts. Painful gifts sometimes, but gifts.
So, listeners, go out there and tell someone you have a pregnant man in your head. Make the mistake. Live the story.
Okay, now we really have to go. That was a great story, David. Thank you for sharing your embarrassment with the world.
Anything for our listeners. Take care, everyone.
Bye.